I was watching Overly Sarcastic, as I often do when filling my empty life with joy and making food to fill my empty belly, when the recent topic on Timeskips casually name-dropped One Piece. Before I could get too excited, it was just being cited as a good example of Timeskip according to their Twitter responses, so I wanted to tackle the question myself. Does One Piece handle its timeskip well, or was it unnecessary and squandered the use for storytelling potential? I'll mostly be discussing the elements that make up a timeskip trope in stories and how they were handled in One Piece. It won't be a was One Piece better before the time skip kind of thing. There's already a lot of good cracks at that subject scattered around the community. After the post-war arc, there's a 2-year break in the continuity in the Straw Hats' adventures, paired deservingly with a 4-week break from serialization. However, Aricha Oda himself only rested for 1 week before continuing working. Oda, why are you like this? The time skip necessitates itself in the story with the notion that Luffy and his crew need to get stronger. It's no longer enough to carry on growing against more powerful foes the crew encounters like their journey had been before. At Sabaody Archipelago, Luffy picks a fight in defense of a friend against a brick wall of power that the New World teases, consequently resulting in the crew getting separated. Luffy repeatedly bangs his head against that brick wall up through Marineford until he finally comes to terms with the reality he can't keep carrying on the way he wants to without first getting stronger. That's the only way he's going to reach his goal of being the freest man in the world. The events of Marineford shake the status quo up, but it's still the same 3 great powers: Marine HQ, the 7 Warlords, and the 4 Emperors. The members' ranks and location get shuffled up a bit, and there's an air that things are more serious now and that balance is teetering more than before. Akainu becomes Fleet Admiral in a falling out with Aokiji, which leads him to join the Blackbeard Pirates for still unknown reasons. The 2 vacant Admiral slots are filled by the unknown Ryokugu, and in a military draft we learn of, Fujitora is conscripted. Other familiar faces among the Marines get a promotion too. Trafalgar Law, Buggy, and the new Edward Weevil join the revolving ranks of the Warlords, and Blackbeard officially supplants Whitebeard as one of the 4 Emperors, and the conflict we hear was called the Payback War. Marineford and Whitebeard's declaration that the One Piece is real ushers in a new wave of rookies, similar to Roger, but they don't overtake any pirates from the Worst Generation. In fact, most of the Worst Generation goes straight into the same New World that beat down Luffy without him, to varying degrees of success. Bonnie gets off to a rough start, running straight into Blackbeard, whose evil plans are going great so far, securing his spot as an emperor. Aru seems content beating a snack and chilling on Sky Island. Kid tries his hand on taking on an emperor and loses an arm, while the others wise up and join under the banners of 4 emperors or bide their time with their own agendas like Law. All these shifts of power and alliances born out of necessity serve to set a new tone to the changing new world. You need power. Power derived from the masses, power from fear, power from shaky alliances, power of righteousness, or power for the sake of power. So the Straw Hats spend those 2 years getting more powerful. They learn knowledge and new techniques, they build robots, and build a lot of muscle. And we have a scene to convey all this growth by trouncing 2 pacifistas in mere moments, when it took a concerted effort from the entire crew just to take on one before the time skip. Since the Straw Hats have been mostly isolated from the world at large for the past 2 years, the main cast are the perfect point-of-view characters to learn alongside what has changed in the world since and experience all the shocking reveals with. Can we talk about their designs real quick? Luffy. Simple, recognizable, and he has a scar as a visual reminder to us what he's up against. Zoro. Love it. One step closer to being a samurai. I miss the bandana sometimes, and we still don't know why he's missing an eye, or if he's missing an eye at all. Nami. She's beautiful. She's rich, she's got
huge tracts of land.
I like the long hair, and I like the short hair. Both are good. Wish we got the wavy hair that's depicted in a few alternate designs. Usopp. Facial hair and muscles do a great job showing how much he's grown and how far he's come. Sanji. Digging his facial hair too. Even the eyebrow, which swirls the same way now that his hair is part of the other side. Great joke. Chopper. Robin. We were robbed in the worst way. Short hair, the return of the cowgirl hat. Just let me have that version, please. How do I make it happen? Please tell me. Is it money? Because if it's money, you can have it all. Just please. Frankie. This one went too far. He's as wide as he is tall until the proportions settle. I do like the idea that he and his creations are big, colorful Duplo blocks that you can customize, but can we just demolish this one and make a new toy, please? Brook. Love the new Soul King Rockstar persona. I wish the crown and the bow would stay on stage when he's not rocking out, though. This time skip delivers the crew a sick new look. In other time skips, characters that have paired off now have a kid, but since the only romance in One Piece is with the Dawn, the only relationship we see produce a child is the one heavily implied between Shanks and Makino. And I guess Beige and Chiffon dispense a Pez. New characters are introduced that become part of a larger scope in longer stories like Kinemon or Bartolomeo. Old characters are introduced in new ways, like the takoyaki-selling Kami, now fashion design apprentice, and their relationship with the Straw Hats picks right back up where they left off. Other familiar faces were uncertain where they stand. The once arrogant Bellamy has now been to the Sky Island that he'd mocked Luffy for believing in, and now Bellamy's own beliefs are tested as he considers changing his ways. A few characters have swapped sides entirely, which is a trait shared by some time skips, but it shares the same caveat that the change of allegiance isn't very permanent. Aokiji is shown to have left the Marines and joined the heinous Blackbeard pirates, but the first action we see him do as a pirate is come to the defense of a former Marine ally. Trafalgar Law steals the hearts of 100 pirates, and way more in the fanbase, to become one of the 7 warlords, but his status is revoked after forming an alliance with Luffy under the pretense of taking down the Emperor Kaido, even though Law is really focused on his now fellow warlord Doflamingo. We get some convoluted politicking and see the position of warlord abused even more like we did pre-Timeskip, this time to distort the news and govern a nation. Having seen enough of the abuse of one of the 3 powers that holds the world in balance, Fujitora and the allied nations that the Straw Hats have won the hearts over of have enough of emotion in the Reverie, the meeting of the world's rulers every 4 years, which is conveniently taking place after this 2-year time skip. They abolished the 7 warlord system to be replaced by another branch within the world government, the Special Science Group, to keep that balance. However, an alliance between the Emperors Kaido and Big Mom, urged on by Luffy meddling in both their affairs, now threatens to topple that balance. Actions that the Straw Hats made pre-time skip because they wanted to help these friends, or punch that person, now have rippling effects into the final stages of the series. I could go on about how the 7 warlords is an unclear system by design on how it's supposed to contribute to the world's balance, but I've rambled enough about it as is. Maybe it's better saved for a topic in another video. Or maybe it's just a real-world analog of how there are some governing bodies that aren't designed to help its people. There are still some dangling mysteries that the time skip has left us, but ultimately the mystery that drives the story hasn't changed. What is the One Piece and what is the true history? As we get closer to the answer of both, the more intertwined they become. Time skip or no time skip, we would have encountered the same trickle of clues from Joy Boy to whatever this is supposed to imply. So if the adventure would have continued regardless, and the status quo was really only shuffled up but remained the same after the time skip, did the time skip fundamentally change anything, and was it even necessary? Yes. Even though the world relatively stayed the same, the time skip marks a huge shift in the focus for the rest of the series. To take on the seas of the New World, Luffy needs more allies than just his trusty crew by his side in these larger-scale conflicts that we catch a glimpse of in Marineford. The story arcs after the time skip are much larger scale, for better or worse, and the risk of character death has never been higher. Maybe. It's still One Piece after all. Luffy's dream to be the Pirate King is to have the most freedom in the world, and live as straightforward as possible. He won't serve under an emperor to bide his time or strike at the perfect moment. He's gonna charge straight towards his goal like he always does. You need power and allies, as the time skip demonstrates, to reach that end, even if Luffy doesn't realize that's what he's doing most of the time.
If you're lost, you can look and you will